Yeah, let's get it! Born from the spark under red, white, and blue lights, forge my own path, climbing these brand new heights. This ain't a debate, we setting the new standard, the voice of the free, a vision that's expanded. Drew Grimaldi Podcast. Drew Grimaldi Podcast.
Hello, everybody! Welcome to the Drew Grimaldi Podcast. It is Saturday, 8:15, and we had a little bit of problems there starting out, so we got a little bit of a late start, but it's okay, just a minute late. As always, technology's crazy, and looks like right now we're just going out to YouTube right now, but we'll get that out to all the other channels probably later. Now, there's a lot of crazy shit going on in the world right now, and it's like everything that we used to joke about, way back in the day, like the things that you used to say, man, that's nuts, or like the Democrats in the 60s are what would be considered today's Republicans. We are an evolving party, but the Democrats have always been the racist party, and we never understood that because a lot of African Americans have always voted Democrat. But that's one of these things where it's like I am a Republican because I know deep in my heart that it is the right way to go. It's the right thought process, not just the right, but it's morally right based on my values and everything. And I say this because when you have Democrats that say that they're a big tent party, the whole big tent thing, they do not call out their crazies, and all they do is they try to appease everybody. And the Democrats have always had this appeasement ideology of just trying to appease everybody. Barack Obama tried to do that with Iran, and that's how they have a few of our F-16s, according to President Trump recently. But the Democrats right now are all hell-bent on the Democrat Socialists of America. And then the normal Democrats that aren't really normal because they let these freaks in their fucking party. But some of them are now speaking out. For example, Bill Maher. And you got, uh, you used to have a bunch. But my point is this. Check this one out. This is Ugandan New York Mayor Zoran Mamdani tells the playbook on how he preys on the left. Now, again, before you probably would have said, there's no way. But this, it's all out there.
I think that with the interesting thing about our communities here is I think that minority communities, because we have never had representation, we are tied much more to identity. White communities, they've had representation forever. And so for them, their tie is a little less identity and a little more ideology. And so what I mean by that is we have a lot of voters here who think of themselves first as progressive voters. And so we reach out to them speaking about our platform, our progressive platform. And you're very right that you need someone in the middle to be a validator, someone to tell them to trust us, believe in us. We've had that with Tiffany Caban and Cynthia Nixon. I think that with the interesting thing about...
So the whole thing is that his point there is that they want to be able to prey on these people. They want to be able to prey on the Democrats because they have that big tent party. So the Muslims said, hey, what we'll do is we'll get in there. We'll get somebody like Bernie Sanders to validate us and say, hey, Bernie Sanders is, vouching for us. AOC is vouching for us. And you got these guys like this that say shit like this.
And I'm thankful to have the opportunity to lead our city. Assalamu alaikum.
وأسأل الله أن يصلي على محمد وآل محمد وأن يجعلني من المنتظرين لك والتابعين والناصرين لك على أعدائك والمستشهدين بين يديك في جملة أوليائك والفرج فيه للمؤمنين على يديك وقتل الكافرين بسيفك.
Straight up, in that, they're talking about, in the other language, they're talking about killing infidels and all of that shit. But You can't make this shit up. You cannot make this shit up. These people, their only objective is to trick Americans into jumping straight into Sharia law. Now, Sharia law is their main goal, and they straight up say that they will lie to whoever they need to. For example, here is
that I remember
Abdul El Sayed openly defending Sharia law, which treats women like third-class citizens, worse than dogs and animals. But check this out.
But I was reminded, actually, about events that I remember because I was an adult when they happened. And that was question 755. When the state of Oklahoma voted in a referendum to amend the Constitution to ban Sharia law. What does that mean? I don't know. And yet the voters banned it anyway.
Because they
what I offer today is just a reflection on the American history that runs through this state. You all sitting in this room, in this town, we're sitting in a space, in a time when I don't have to tell you that the same exact forces that drove native peoples from their land 2 centuries ago, destroyed Black Wall Street a century ago, bombed a building decades ago, and tried to ban Sharia law not a decade ago, that those forces are alive and well today.
Well, he's running against Mike Rogers here in Michigan. But you have these people that openly, check this out, this is Mamdani defending it also.
You denounce it though. I'm asking you.
I am running.
I know, but I'm like, that's the point. If you're going to run for mayor, you have to denounce it. You denounce that.
What is Sharia law?
I come from a political tradition Donald Trump describes as the enemy within. We came here to remake this state in the image of our people.
Police think about Zara, because I know that's like a little contentious.
What they think. You're a city employee. You get told what to do. Shut up. When did you get an opinion?
These people are. This is what the Democrat Party has allowed into their party, and it's crazy that this is what they're fucking allowing. But you have these Muslim rape gangs happening in the UK, and we've talked about this on other podcasts. But here's one of them right here being confronted.
Keep your hands out your pockets. Listen to me. Where? John.
I don't know.
Dizzy, sorry.
Hey mate, sit yourself down.
You're dizzy. Do you need an ambulance? Do you need medical assistance?
Like dizzy, I'm sorry.
Listen to me. You haven't got to feel threatened.
Yeah. You sent that to a 14-year-old girl. You know that? You're going to be arrested tonight.
I'm never going to.
Well, you won't.
I promise.
You might, but you might do it back where you live.
Read a bit of the chat out if you got some on there.
I'm
never going to do it.
Don't make me nervous. I don't want to get nervous. Okay. In fact, you can run, but there's nowhere for you to go because I know where you live.
Yeah. That's why I say I must give everything. You know. I know.
You had a dream.
Please don't take the video, please.
Mate, this is all about the video. This is all about the video.
Your safety, my friend.
This is all about the video.
That's why you've got to keep the video. Where are we?
We're
We're at. He's my brother.
Okay.
Listen.
Yes,
Let's get hold on 1 sec. Let's get one thing straight. I'm not your brother. I'm not your mate. You've been speaking to kids.
We're not here.
I'm not your mate.
We're not here to make you really comfortable. We're actually here to make your life really uncomfortable.
I actually don't know the law. If I know the law, I will not
there's a saying in this country and every other country that I've been to.
You know, right? America, there is a 14 years old in California or something different.
We are
what the fuck are you saying?
Okay.
Sorry, but if you know the legal age of consent in California or whatever state you was going to mention, you know.
That's not even true. Fucking
how can
disgusting.
you not know the legal age of consent in the UK?
Well, I've got some good advice. Go over there.
Where are you from originally?
Sri Lanka.
What is the legal
I've got
age
some
of
great
consent
pictures
in
of
Sri
you.
Lanka?
There is no age, you know.
There is no age.
There is no age because you know we have the.
I think we're going to find out.
Okay, you can find it.
This feed's going live, and I bet you right now, if somebody's on there, Googling the age of consent in Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
It won't be long.
Because the Muslim, we have the Sharia law in Sri Lanka. That's why.
What is the age of consent in Sharia law?
There is, when you became a puberty age, you can marry them. But people not marrying until
That's
they
fucking.
I get that. But are you aware that in Shrewsbury, Shropshire, we don't have Sharia law?
No, I know. No, I know they in the school they say they provide in the condom in the system.
So this guy's talking to a 14-year-old, and these Brits fucking get to him, and this is what it is. I mean, it's just crazy that the Democrats have such a big tent party that they're willing to allow some of these things. And they've called, Democrats lobbied to have the name pedophile changed to minor attractive persons. It's disgusting, but that's what the Democrat Party allows into there, because they do not police their own people. And it's just disgusting. It is just disgusting. But to move on to some of that, like I said, we got the Ugandan mayor. Now, this is Muslims in Dearborn, Michigan, talking about killing Jews. All right. Now, in America, we're friends. We like our Jews. Okay. Now, this is the type of garbage.
And with a decree of yours, you will annihilate them. Ya Rahman Rahimin, you annihilated. And you destroyed the likes of Ad and Thamud and Fir'aun. These are the Fir'auns and the Ad and Thamud of today. Ya Rahman Rahimin, we ask you, Ya Allah, destroy them. Destroy them, Allah. Take them off the service of this earth. Ya Rahman Rahimin, Ya Akram al-Akramin.
على القوم الكافرين اللهم انصر الإسلام وأعز المسلمين وأذل الشرك والمشركين اللهم انصر عبادك الموحدين اللهم انصرهم على القوم المجرم أحصهم عددا اللهم اقتلهم بددا ولا تغادر منهم
اللهم يا ربنا إنهم يجاهدون في سبيلك اللهم إنهم يجاهدون في سبيلك اللهم انصرهم يا رب العالمين.
These people are not compatible with Western society, and they're showing that.
اللهم عليك باليهود والنصارى.
They want to take out Christians and Jews.
فإنهم لا يعجزونك. اللهم احصهم عددا اللهم احصهم عددا واقتلهم بددا ولا تغادر منهم أحدا يا رب العالمين.
عليك بالصليبيين اللهم عليك بهم فإنهم لا يعجزونك عليهم يا رب العالمين.
I mean, a lot of this is all in other language, so if you're listening to it on a
destroy all the
platform,
enemies of Islam. Allahumma destroy all the enemies of Islam. May Allah destroy them completely and show in us the great signs of Allah in their utter destruction, annihilation, humiliation.
عليك بالأمريكان ومن والاهم اللهم أحصهم عددا واقتلهم بددا.
What an ugly fucking religion. It's not even a religion, it's more of a cult. Sounds like you're choking on something, you fuck. But I digress. That is who the Democrats are allowing into their party. These Muslims that go after children because that's part of their religion. But the Democrats, like I said, they've changed things into what they call minor attracted persons. And these are the type of professional therapists that talk about this. Check this one out.
I serve on the board of directors of Before You Act. Before You Act is a unique organization that was formed primarily to promote appropriate, respectful, non-coercive psychotherapy for minor attracted people.
Pedophiles.
We do a couple of other things as well, but that was our founding mission, and we still have that mission. We use the term minor attracted people because the term pedophile has been so sort of popularized to mean a person who abuses children, that there isn't a word besides minor attracted people as a phrase to refer to people who are attracted to minors or children and don't act on that attraction. They're not child abusers. They're people who have certain feelings and thoughts, and they deserve to have a respectful word to call themselves, and minor attracted people is what they call themselves. It's not that I have special expertise for working with minor attracted people. It's that I am really tolerant. And so that it doesn't, I don't feel disturbed by the things people say for the most part, or at least not that set of things.
How are you not disturbed by that? What type of person is not disturbed by something like that? I mean, this is just wild stuff. These people really are crazy. Here's another crazy.
And I'm a licensed professional counselor and sex therapist in Erie, Pennsylvania. And I want to talk about minor attracted persons because they are probably the most vilified population of folks in our culture. You may have noticed that I'm using the term minor attracted persons, sometimes abbreviated to MAPS, instead of the more commonly used term pedophile. And I'm doing this because the term pedophile has moved from being a diagnostic label to being a judgmental, hurtful insult that we hurl at people in order to harm them or slander them. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a licensed professional counselor and sex therapist in Erie, Pennsylvania. And I want to talk about minor attracted persons.
I mean, when you have to give your fucking pronouns, it's just crazy to me how you can take these people serious. And I hope we do get away from that. But listen to this one.
Sex dolls. So I had, of course, to Google it last night. So a little scared to put it in my search engine, but I did. And apparently there is research on the subject. Not much, but there are what they call MAPs, minor attracted persons. And the limited amount of research that's done on these dolls, guys, suggests that they actually, for people who are attracted to minors, that these dolls actually decrease their proclivity to go out and attack children. That it actually gives them a release that makes them less likely to go outside of their home. And what was interesting is the research did not support the same conclusions for people who were adult attracted using dolls. That did not diminish their proclivity to engage other people, but for those with the... So I'm just a little concerned that, and like I say, the research is not very good. It is not comprehensive, but the research that is out there is conclusive.
Like, what the fuck? Why are we even having this conversation? Like, this is what they fucking designed wood chippers for. But that's the big tent party for you. That's what they get when you have a big tent party that just allows every nut job in there that just, they're crazy. So I digress. You have the kingmakers on the Democrat side right now, which appear to be AOC and Bernie Sanders. More so AOC. People have been talking about AOC running for president, which is nuts because she's stupid as shit. She doesn't have the wherewithal to do anything like that. But my point is this. She has over 1 million followers on her Twitter account. She's recently single. She's been freezing her eggs and shit. She's been doing this shit all online on X, which has been freaking a lot of people out. But it really makes it look like when you're doing something like that, hey, maybe she's thinking about running for president if she's talking about shelving something like that. But you have a lot of varying opinions on AOC for president. But this one here is probably one of the funniest. Hunter Biden says AOC is the future of the Democrat Party. Check this one out. And keep in mind, his judgment's very good. He's got great judgment, guys.
That other person that I think is in it for that reason is AOC. I look at her and I think that, and I see the future of the Democratic Party in every way. I think that AOC, not only as a communicator, but as someone that can, that has an instinct to find common ground, that is that believes that in order for that we do have to have some kind of radical change, and that's not a radical thing to say. It's not a radical thing to say that the system is completely broken. It doesn't work. The idea that 80% of Americans could believe that the healthcare is a fundamental right, but we still don't have a universal healthcare in one way or another, by whatever means necessary, is crazy. The idea that that 80% of Americans believe that we should, that there should be some accountability for the corporations that are poisoning our children's mind, literally leading to suicide in the form of social media companies, and have no way in which to hold them accountable because of Section 230.
Crazy. That's who he thinks. He thinks AOC is the great communicator. Now, keep in mind, this is the guy who gives that.
He's a grown man. He is the smartest man I know. I mean, for the pure intellectual capacity.
Smoking crack. I mean, he's got some really good judgment there. That's definitely, people really think his opinion is going to go a long way. But there's even people pitching that he should run for president. And it's like the Democrats are just so hopeful at this point that they will do anything. But it's insane, too, because you got guys like Keith Ellison of Minnesota who still will not condemn attacks on ICE agents. And again, he's just a Democrat, but you need to say the right things. You need to denounce.
So the 15 indictments include charges of stalking federal agents as well as throwing large blocks of ice at their vehicles. The U.S. Attorney for the District of Minnesota, Daniel Rosen, declined to say whether any federal agents were actually injured. How do you respond to the argument that this kind of work is necessary to protect law enforcement?
Let me say, I don't have any opinions about the strength of the evidence in those ongoing cases. I will say that people are innocent until proven guilty and presumed to be innocent. I'll leave it there.
So the 15
presumed to be innocent. That's all you can say. You won't condemn Democrats, putting, ICE agents in danger. Like regardless of what you think about that Preddy and and that chick Renee Good that was shot in Minnesota by ICE, they did not need to be there. They did not need to be there. And Preddy brought a gun to a protest while he's attacking ICE agents. He didn't pull it, but what are you doing with your life and making these bad decisions? I know growing up, my dad would say, just don't put yourself in these situations. Just don't do that. And you learn how to avoid those situations. But some people are too stupid to not be able to do that. And the Democrats, they just need a cleansing. They need to get rid of all of these people and bring back some sanity to these, because right now, all of them are just nuts. And, they're losing so bad that 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 they will grasp at any fictional thing and still use it. You talk to any normal Democrat, they'll just say, "Oh, Russia, Trump got elected." Da, da, da. They don't know that that's all been debunked and that was all fake. People have selective what they take in. There's a filter, I guess. But back to what I was saying, you have Democrats that just say shit that's not true. And Democrats are trying to say the conditions aboard the destroyers that are over in the Middle East are bad. And Hegseth responds to this. But like I said, they will say anything as long as it hurts the president of the United States. And
Could you comment on the report from Democrats in Washington questioning the conditions of the USS Lincoln and the situations with Marines aboard?
Completely misrepresented. Listen, we make sure at every ship, every crew, every captain has everything we can provide them at every single moment. Some deployments are longer than others, and I have more respect and gratitude for those sailors than anybody. What they do in those high seas and those austere conditions with less port calls, it's incredible. I mean, Americans don't understand what it's like to do that. So as someone who's not been on a ship like that, but been on long deployments, I feel it. I want them home as soon as everybody else too. I want folks rotated as quickly as possible. I want the best for them. My commanders know that. Our service secretaries know that. The president expects that. And so to that crew and to all those crews, we're going to do everything we can for you. And we are so grateful for their dedication of that crew and others. They've held the line for the country, and they've done a fantastic job.
But like I said, it doesn't stop them from repeating these things, right? Democrats are still out there saying it. Like, you're in like a conflict. There we go. Okay, so you got these conditions aboard these destroyers that they're saying, and everybody's repeating it. But one of this guys is Alex Krasteens. This dude's a
We just had
dumbass.
it with a U.S. Navy mom. She says her son was stuck on the USS Benfold for 4 days without power in the South China Seas. This comes as repairs were allegedly pulled by the Trump administration, leaving 300 sailors without toilets, cooked food, or air conditioning in 105-degree heat. She described their ordeal as hell. First, the USS Abraham Lincoln, and now this. In an exclusive conversation we just had it with a U.S. Navy mom, she said,
And Krastein's one of these like paid Democrat influencers, right? And he says this shit, and it'll just be way out there. But he says he talks to a Navy mom. Come on, man. It's crazy, you know? And then it's just, they even asked the president about it.
Well, no, that ship is moving. No, they're not. That ship is moving right now, or very shortly, and it's being replaced with another very similar ship. No. Not nearly long enough. Okay, what else do I have to say?
They're saying family members of the U.S. destroyer. And it's like, it's probably one mom who's kind of concerned about it. But again, here's
Lincoln's deployment has been,
another
quote, long enough.
Oh my God. I don't think the man thinks before he talks, and I was really hoping that at some point there would be a redemption. Try to redeem yourself at least a little bit with everything that you do and everything that you say, and try to redeem yourself. Have some sympathy, some empathy, take some accountability for what's going on with your military, your ships, in your war. It's infuriating. I mean, we heard what Hegseth said yesterday, what the president is saying today. It's infuriating. Essentially saying that families are lying and service members are lying, even though the proof is right here on my phone. It is not fabricated. Nobody is lying. Everybody is. It's infuriating that they're not taking accountability and not having any sort of sympathy for our service members that they claim to scream and shout that they support when it's politically, sound for them to use support our troops until our troops need support. And now suddenly everyone's lying and it's a fabrication and it's a misrepresentation. It's infuriating. And I so badly would love to plaster my face and blow the whistle so loud on social media with my name and be like, this is real. We are real people. Those are real
She
people
wants
on
attention.
that ship. This is actually happening. But unfortunately,
I'm going to say this on social media. I'm going to get on CNN.
And, he's making a career out of this, or he was. I'm not sure what he's going to do when he gets back or what his plan is going to be after this.
Thank you so much for your time and for your family's sacrifice, and of course,
It sounds like one man is talking to his wife and is kind of pissed off about the situation. Well, these situations are not great, for fuck's sake. They're not. But It's all this just bullshit. Like we are at war. These guys are taken care of for the rest of their lives because they should be. Unless a Democrat takes office, then all of a sudden it's like, well. So there's a new one out right now with Air Force One and what happened, and it's so freaking funny, the reaction to this. So Donald Trump was over when he was over in Turkey. They were worried about um, one of the arm air to missiles where you can shoot it right from your hand going at Air Force One. And they had some intel that they might be trying to shoot at Air Force One. Keep in mind, Air Force One is one of the state of the art, like the old plane. It can take anything. If there was a nuclear blast, that thing would fly on. If that thing is shot a missile at, well, that missile can't track the plane. And there's everything on this. The thing's got flares for days. Um, it can take about anything. If somebody was just shooting a gun at it, it would just reflect off it. It wouldn't do anything. These things, that plane is absolutely bulletproof. It is a flying fortress. Now, that being said, they thought that there was an issue with what was going on with when they were flying out of Turkey, and they had maybe moved the president from one spot on the plane to another plane, thinking that that plane might get shot down. But people are now saying, well, why did they even let the other plane take off with all the reporters? Well, I mean, everybody made it safely and all that, but it's crazy. All right, just the talking of it. But here's the whole thing behind it.
Donald Trump was reportedly smuggled off Air Force One in a catering truck last month, in a dramatic security ruse designed to protect him from a potential Iranian assassination attempt. The deception operation took place as the president was flying back from a NATO summit in Turkey on July 8th. Footage from the night shows Trump boarding a former Air Force One jumbo jet. He is then reportedly shuttled minutes later into a smaller plane via an airport catering truck typically used to load food and supplies onto aircraft. Reporters on the plane were not informed that Trump would not be flying with them, turning them, along with some White House staff, into unwitting decoys. Trump is then shuttled onto a smaller plane, an Air Force C-32A, which the catering truck can then be seen parking alongside. The travelling press corps on the old Air Force One model, unaware of the manoeuvre, were asked to pull down their window blinds before departure. A small group of top government officials had knowledge of the deception plan, including Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and General Dan Kane, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. When asked later by reporters why they needed to keep their blinds closed, Trump made a dark joke about the threat posed by Iran.
Were you aware of any credible threat by Iran against Air Force One?
I have a threat all the time. I'm number one on their list before you. But if I go, you go. Right?
But was there a specific
So perhaps someday you want to change professions.
It's not clear how Trump moved back to the blue Air Force One plane after landing, but he appeared before television camera crews and descended the external stairs at around 10:56 p.m. Following a short stop at the Mildenhall Royal Air Force Base in the UK.
So this is a good video. Broke it down. That guy, and that's from the Independent, as you can see. But the whole thing with this is that you got Jake Tapper, who has this reaction to it. Okay, if I can find it here. Oh yeah. So Jake Tapper was saying all this shit, right? He's saying, well, I don't understand. You got to watch this. You have to watch
this. The press
this.
landed in the UK to refuel. You can see the catering truck
no, that's not the one. Okay, so essentially what happened here is Jake Tapper says, well, what type of guy just lets the other plane be a decoy and not tell them about that? And everybody's sitting there like, Jake, the Secret Service's job is to protect the President of the United States, not Jack from BuzzFeed. So they're going to get these people off. But the whole thing is that the whole reaction to it is just funny. And the whole thing about it is that they just wanted to keep the president safe.
Somebody
And
who's a staffer that
this is
traveled
what
with
it is.
Biden on Air Force One. I'm okay with the security protocols because Secret Service would not do something like this unless it was very, very credible. But what was going to be the plan with the real life staffers and the media that were on the plane as a decoy? That to me feels like another piece of this that's a bit left out. But look, Republican president, Democratic president, it doesn't matter. I don't want to see our president killed by a foreign nation.
So that's what they do, right? That's the CNN attack. Is
I
that
will
well? It's
say,
kind
as
of
somebody-
crazy. And here's
lot of
Whoopi.
questions about why there was a last-minute change to you-know-who's flight plan that moved him off the $400 million Air Force One replacement that was given to him by the Qatari government. It's capping off a trip to NATO that went as smoothly as you can imagine it did. Take a look.
We have an aircraft carrier, which is one of the most beautiful in the world. It's one of the biggest, the Abraham Lincoln. And a few months ago, we had 100, I told this story yesterday, we had 111 missiles shot by the Islamic Republic of Japan. Do you have a question for President Putin, please? Do you have a question for President Putin?
Oh yeah, he misspoke, and that was their whole thing. But oh yeah, the man misspeaks. At least he doesn't do it as much as Biden used to do it. But I digress. The whole thing just funny to me because everybody has been complaining about the Secret Service plane incident. Well, who cares? But let me get back to my point here. We have Democrat Gavin Newsom and Gretchen Whitmer. They sit down to talk about the state of all of that. And this is these two are the two biggest losers, I think, of the Democrat
it's
Party.
amazing to me how people don't want to talk about COVID.
Right.
They literally just no one.
Although,
even the critics, like the loudest critics, like move on, something else.
Yeah,
do you get that as well?
Yeah. Well, I have this. It's like it warped my sense of time. Do you know what I mean? It feels like a decade ago.
I know.
You know, in a way, and it feels like yesterday at the same time. It's like it's the strangest phenomenon. I think we all kind of want to put that in the rearview mirror.
What'd you make of Fauci and all that? Did they bring back some of those memories?
Yeah, but and I feel bad for him. You know, I mean, God, people were trying to do the right thing with the information that we had.
It's amazing to me how
that's a real crazy thing to say when you put people into a nursing home full of COVID patients. But look at this picture of Gretchen Whitmer. Look at this. Right in the background, she just has a random picture of Dr. Fauci. So of course she feels bad for the guy. She loves the guy. The Democrats idolize this guy, and it to the point where it was just disgusting. But Gretchen Whitmer,
Fauci kept getting ever
no
more
Look at
under
this.
fire
This is Fauci.
for this problem of gain of function research, claiming it wasn't really gain of function research, claiming that he didn't know why the grants were cut off. There was a claim that he had perjured himself when he said that. He defends himself in the diaries against this charge. It gets increasingly defensive throughout 2021. I think when you read this, you need to understand something. This was notes towards an autobiography. He never intended it to be published as is, but he wanted it to be a kind of a draft of what he would eventually put in his memoirs. In fact, there are moments in here where he even specifies, don't put this in my autobiography, right? So, and he keeps on going. So that's very revealing because it shows why he was writing this chronicle. It's because he was doing the first draft of how he wants to be remembered. So everything you read in here, you have to read in light of that. That's not to say it's not fairly open and
so that's their analysis.
Pretty blunt.
The whole thing with that is that Fauci in his thing contradicted what he was saying to the public, and that's why we want to get to the bottom of it. But you just have these people, the Gavin in them. Oh yeah, it's like, the COVID thing. Well, keep in mind, they're Democrats and their states were shut down much longer than any of the other states for some reason. And it's just stupid. There was no reason for it other than trying to control people even more. But back to this here, we've got the Democrats that are putting forward, they have no new people, they have no good ideas. Um, I truly think Democrats are looking for something different. They're looking for their Trump that comes in, makes everything make sense, and makes the party great again. Kind of like what happened under Obama until the truth about him got out, that he was actually not American, he was a Kenyan, and we'll go down that whole thing another time. But you have no good ideas except for this new DSA. And so people just want a new idea. They're rebelling against the establishment Democrats, the Gavin Newsoms, the Gretchen Whitmers. That's why I said they're the two biggest losers in all of this. During COVID and stuff, people were saying, oh, yeah, these guys are going to be the front runners. And look how that absolutely killed both of their political careers. Really, it's tough to come back from. But you have AOC that is now distancing herself from the woke label that she was so much a part of. She was one of the driving forces of it. Check this one out.
I have a local city councilman that has this saying, woke one was crazy.
Woke one was crazy. Okay, that's interesting.
And I think that what's important is that we have to assess what
was it. I mean, did the movement go too
now.
far with some of those positions? I mean, you briefly supported the idea of defunding the police.
Well, I think that during this time and especially during COVID, there was a huge opening of the Overton window. We were shut down. There was some of the highest unemployment rates that we have seen because of those shutdowns. Yeah. And I think that the doors were really open in trying to entertain any and every policy that was going to get us to a better place. And I actually think that the discussions that were had in that time were quite fruitful. I think that when we talk about crime today, it's fundamentally different than the way that we talked about crime in bringing crime down, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that we all share in the goals of having as low a crime rate as possible. I think that, during lockdown, of course, rhetoric in that time is not rhetoric that we would use today. And I'm grateful that these candidates have the opportunity to present who they are to their electorate and what they're campaigning on in this moment.
So they're talking woke one. So whatever that means, woke one. But either way, AOC, she is the front runner right now to the Democrat heir. And all of her picks seem to be winning right now, at least getting the nomination for the Democrats. Like I said, they're rebelling against the establishment. And the only thing out there on the left is the Democrat Socialists of America. So this is Ted Cruz on AOC for president. As always, like I said, this is the big talk around
run for president. I don't think she will run for Senate, but I'm going to make a prediction for you, Sean. My prediction is Comrade Mondami will be the next Democrat senator from New York, that Mondami will replace Schumer. I think Mondami is the single most powerful Democrat in the country. And I got to say, by the way, there are some Republicans that are celebrating. This is great. Our opponents are crazy. That's going to help us. I want to say for the record, I'm not celebrating. I think this is bad for the country. I think this is unhealthy. I want to see two normal parties that are not filled with crazy people who can actually do something reasonable and who actually love the country. Okay, if a Democrat likes some higher taxes and higher regulations, I don't like that. But could we start with the premise that you love America? I think she'll run for president. I don't think.
I agree. Can we start with the premise that you love America? Because that's such an important point. Don't come in and say, hey, we want to change everything like the Democrats want. They want to pack the Supreme Court. They want to, they want to do tons of crazy shit. But this is J.D. Vance on AOC for president. This is the talk of the town. This is her on J.D. Vance, I believe. Check this out.
J.D. Vance just said in an interview that...
Hang on. for getting it.
Thinks you are going to be the leading Democratic candidate for president in 2028. What's your response to that?
I mean, you know, I hope he is. That's what I'll say.
So he's the Republican nominee?
Yeah.
Congresswoman, the Supreme Court ruled that trans J.D. Vance just
So it sounds like she wants to run against J.D. Vance. That's what it sounds like. She is a pretty thing. She's definitely something to look at. Much better looking than Kamala Harris. But we got AOC for president. That's the talk of the town right now. Check this one out. This one here is this one. Check this. This is
to rule
Kayleigh
out a
Mackin.
presidential run from New York Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. He points out that AOC has more than 30 million social media followers, as big a small donor fundraising base as any candidate has ever enjoyed, and the ability to draw and excite large crowds. Democratic primaries increasingly revolve around the DSA's principles, and AOC would feel pressure from her left not to temporize in this manner. I think that is exactly right. So, Lisa, one thing I'm looking at about last night is what this means for El Sayed. Here's why. Michigan and Wisconsin are to rule out a presidential run from New York Congress.
So, keep in mind, she's endorsing all these people and they're winning. And that's the scariest part about it, is that they're actually winning. This is President Trump and what he thinks on AOC for president. And
other week, AOC, woke one was crazy. She's trying to back away from those comments. Why do you think she's trying to do that? Is she going to run for president?
I think so. But if you really look at it, they're all saying the same thing. They're all trying to disavow themselves from saying about crime. And well, we love sanctuary cities. All the things that they said, they're now trying to disavow. I think you're going to see sanctuary cities start to end, because sanctuary cities are a disaster. And somebody like her, she was big for sanctuary cities. They cause crime. They cause crime. No cash bail. You look at the no cash bail. That's when it all started, no cash bail. Somebody kills somebody and they just say, all right, go ahead, come back in 2 weeks.
She said the other week, AOC, woke one was.
it's so true. It's like the cashless bail is insane. Like, that's one of the biggest things that the Democrats push for. And the whole point about that is that you end up with situations like this next clip here, where you have people who were arrested 37 times and still let out. This is what the Democrats want for some reason, and it's stupid. It's cashless bail.
Devontae Dickey broke into a house next to hers that she was staying, where it was left open, where a loaded shotgun was left, with the doors open, where he stole that gun and continued to go next door, where our beautiful daughter Logan, that blonde-haired Southern belle from Waxhaw, North Carolina, stood and laid as he pulled her out of the bed, naked, on the floor, on her knees, stuck a 12-gauge shotgun under her left breast, and pulled the trigger. My life changed then. I'm on a mission. I'm on a mission to keep career felons behind bars. I'm going to... Here's the really sick part. Alexander Dickey is 30 years old. He'd been arrested 39 times with 25 felonies and was out on the streets. You spoke about freedom. My definition of freedom is this. When you're an American and you can go out and visit friends and enjoy a night without getting executed. I've fought hard for almost 15 months now. There's Logan's Law up in Washington getting reviewed right now. It is a common sense law. The beautiful part about Logan's Law is this. Everyone wants soft on crime judges, DAs, solicitors held accountable. That's exactly what this law does. Look, we got to be real. They're not going to jail. But with Logan's Law, it's a tool to get them off the bench, out of office.
Yep. Boom. And Logan's Law is that if a prosecutor or if a judge keeps letting these people out, that they will eventually be held accountable for doing that. And I think it's a great one. But yeah, then you have the United States of America under Donald Trump. The USA has seen the lowest crime numbers in 100 years. 100 years. Keep that in mind. Think about how crazy that is. Listen to this.
It is hard to overstate the effectiveness of what we did in 2025. The first year of this administration, we saw the largest decrease in violent crimes in 100 years. And what that shows you, it shows you what happens when you have a leader, when you have President Trump empowering all of us, empowering me, empowering federal law enforcement to partner with our state and local cops, sheriffs, everybody. It happens when you back the blue every step of the way. It is hard.
That's it. You got to back the blue every step of the way, and you need to give them what they need, and you got to take care of them, and you got to love on your police. Now, in another story here, we have Royce White, who is a Division I first draft pick, NBA. He says he's joining the WNBA. He's becoming a woman.
My fear of flying really wasn't a fear of flying. It was the transgender trapped inside of me, caged inside of me, that gave me an aversion to small spaces. I think there are plenty of people out there who have
that makes perfect sense.
A transgender trapped deep down inside of them, and so they think they're
every one of you.
claustrophobic.
No. Every one of you do. Let's just be.
Yeah, they think they're claustrophobic. Not really claustrophobic. It's the transgender that's trapped. I realized my fear of flying.
Now, this is all a joke. It's all just fake. And the whole point of this is that the WNBA has to make a crazy decision. Right now, they allow a trans man, aka a woman pretending to be a man, in the league. So they let this thing in the league because, well, she's a woman, of course. She's a biological woman. But now they're talking about letting transgender men, letting men that became women play in the sport. And all of a sudden, we're having this discussion again. What does the W and the WNBA stand for? Are we going to make this a co-ed league, or are we going to respect what women have fought for to get their own leagues and to get their own spaces and to get their own everything, be able to vote, for fuck's sake? But this is what I'm talking about when I say the craziness, because who does this? What, the WNBA should not be talking about what is a woman, for Christ's sakes. I mean, this is insanity. But this is Royce White talking about it right here.
I'm a woman. I identify as sometimes identifying as a woman for purposes of basketball, professional basketball. So I'll be declaring for the WNBA draft in 2027 as well. I mean, I think I'd be unstoppable. But I'm a team first guy. I'm a pass first kind of player. I do the little things. I led my team in all 5 major stat categories at Iowa State University. So I do a little bit of everything. I'll do whatever the coach needs me to do. I'll do whatever the girls need me to do. I think the WNBA could come out and make a definitive statement about guys with a pair of balls playing in the women's association. But hey, that'd be probably too much like right. So, and I don't want to be discriminated against. No, I want fair treatment. I'm a black, I'm a young black, hopefully United States Senator. that would like a fair chance to participate as a sometimes identifying as a transgender woman athlete.
And that's the biggest troll of all time because, again, we're having this conversation. What is a woman? And then you got
The
Ketanji
definition
Brown
for
Jackson
the word
on the
woman.
on the Supreme Court.
Can I provide a definition? No,
Yeah.
I can't.
You can't?
Not in
Okay.
this context.
So you
I'm not a
believe
biologist.
the meaning of the word woman is so unclear and controversial that you can't give me a definition? Can you provide a definition for the word woman?
Can I provide a definition? No,
Yeah.
I can't.
You can't?
Not in
Okay.
this.
I can't. I don't know what a woman is. Like, this is retarded shit, you know. And then you got people like this that
Boycott the WNBA. They don't know what a woman is. They don't know how to protect women in girls' sports. And the WNBA, the W that stands for woman, not trans, that starts with a T. Woman. Y'all don't know what that is? Boycott them. Our girls deserve fairness in their sports and in the locker room. And I'm just having it really up to here with the WNBA and their cowardice. And every fucking WNBA player that says, oh, I don't mind a trans on a team with me, you're fucking lying. You haven't had it. You haven't experienced having a male in the locker room with you. I have. It is fucking demeaning. It crosses our boundaries. It disregards our privacy and what we actually want as women. Fuck the WNBA and any other sports league that allows men to play with women. Boycott them. Women.
strong words, but I agree with everything that she just said because what in the hell are we doing in society when you have men competing in women's sports? And it's crazy because you had back in the day, you had South Park do a crazy funny stat about this where, and I wish I could find it right now, but they show this guy and he's like, yeah, I'm a woman's weightlifter. And it's the funniest thing, right? But that was satire back in the day, and now it's reality. And people can't distinguish between what's a joke and what's not. This was an SNL skit back from 2015, right at the tail end of the Obama administration, before Trump broke all their brains. This was the type of comedy that was coming out, and it's a little more truthful than.
Yeah.
Thanks.
You got it, kiddo. Looks like your ride's here. You be careful, okay?
Dad, it's just ISIS.
Take care of her. Death to America.
Dad.
Yeah.
Back in the day when they were actually funny, that was the type of joke that that they used to do on those. And I respect that because that shit was actually funny back in the day. But I appreciate you spending this time with me on your Saturday here, and got some big sports coming up. Check out my sports analyzer at GRIMALDI.tv, proprietary technology developed by myself. What it does is it'll give you 25,000 iterations of a sporting event, and it'll give you a result on it. And we track everything to make sure everything's accurate and all of that. We run at a pretty good percentage, but it's worth checking out. It gives you some extra information when you're about to make that big parlay bet. So go check it out. It's ai.grimaldi.tv, or you can go to grimaldi.tv. You can do that. Also, we got mypillow.com. Use promo code GRIM at mypillow.com for special discounts and offers for listeners of the podcast. We appreciate you being here this Saturday. God bless every single one of you. Keep the faith and get out there and talk shit to a liberal today. Thanks so much for listening. We'll be back next Saturday.